Terraria is a game that many of you probably are quite familiar with. I myself have dumped hundreds of hours and runs into it. If you've been playing this game for long enough, you've likely heard about a mod called Calamity. Calamity is a mod for Terraria that set out to make the game a living hell. Not only does it add more bosses, more enemies, more gear, it also has 2 extra difficulties and changes vanilla bosses to be more challenging. Calamity is infamous for being extremely brutal and really big, having several bosses and gear way beyond the regular game's end boss Moonlord. I've played some of this mod before, but I never really beat it. Earlier this week I've been reintroduced to Calamity by a little known YouTuber called Crabbar.
Hello there, I am Crabbar, the famous...
Unfortunately, Crabbar doesn't really have a mic, so he couldn't get into VC, which is why the format of this video might be a little out there. Instead of a normal playthrough, I'll be telling you how my experience with this mod was. The beginning of the game is pretty normal. You run around, explore the world, chop down trees, and make wooden shacks for your eventual NPCs. You then dig, mine ore, find crystal hearts, get more health, gear up, just like the regular vanilla game. The biggest difference for me in the beginning of the game was the class I was playing as. Rogue as a class is very similar to Throwing in vanilla. The problem with Throwing was that it was never a finished class, and in the upcoming update they're gonna merge it into Ranger, essentially getting rid of it completely, which is the main reason why Rogue has the Rogue damage type, not the Throwing damage type. That's also why I'm calling the class Rogue and not Thrower or Throw-in. That means that any equipment that says Throw-in instead of Rogue will not work, so you can say bye-bye to all the ninja and fossil gear. After we geared up and properly dressed for Halloween, we went to the corruption to blow up some shadow orbs. We were trying to get the Viotone for Crabbar, but unfortunately RNG didn't feel like playing our favor. It didn't matter too much though. We decided to go back and fight our first boss, King's Lion. The fight is still mainly just running to one side and attacking him directly. Right after King's Lion, we decided to go farm some Victite. Victite is a new type of ore in Calamity, but instead of going mining for it, you actually have to craft the bars using various ocean-related items like starfish and shells. Where do you get all these items? You guessed it, the desert. You see, there's some lore to this mod. We'll go into that part later, but for now, know that you can farm stuff for Victite in the desert, not the ocean. It didn't matter though, we wanted to go over there to get all the stuff. Eye of Cthulhu decided to spawn. EOC still remains pretty much the same. He dashes at you, he gets angry after you hit him too much. The main difference here is that now he also dashes horizontally. That was terrible for me, because of the server lag, he would teleport from one side to the other. I could barely fucking dodge it. That on top of being way under gear for a surprise boss fight meant we couldn't kill EOC. After that disaster, we decided to go to the desert to kill some Nidrions. Those are one of the enemies that drop all the materials made for Victite. We farmed a bit, enough to make me a new weapon, and decided to go for a Desert Scourge. But once again we were interrupted by another surprise fight. Goblins decided to invade us, so we went back home and just started preparing ourselves. I was thinking about using that platform in the fight against EOC to help me fight the goblins, but then Crabbar just fucking... The goblins were pretty much the same from vanilla. We killed them and moved to the desert for our first Calamity boss fight. Now, the Desert Scourge is actually my favorite pre-hard mode boss. It's a pretty standard fight. He's got the projectiles, he's got the big intimidating boss body, he's got the big speed, it's all in there. I don't know why I like this fight so much. I just think sandworms are cool. Now, for the reason it drops ocean-related items, according to the lore, the Scourge was a beast that actually lived in the oceans. After Calamitas went over there and fucking destroyed everything, the Scourge, deprived of its main source of food, shark and crab meat, went on a rampage, eating everything in the Sea Kingdom and moving away to the desert. Its body dried up and now it lives there, constantly looking for more food to survive. After fighting the Scourge, we decided to make a elevator. Yeah, that took a while. Yep. We're still going. The next weapon I got was the Crystalline. Now the Crystalline is fucking bonkers. It's a knife that when thrown, splits it in 3 other knives. It deals a pretty decent amount of damage. It's one of the best early game weapons in the mod, not even just for Rogue, just in general. I was happy to try on EOC for revenge and it basically carried the fight. The next fight was Scrabulon. There wasn't a lot of preparing to do since we both already had good enough gear to fight Crabulon. He's also somewhat easier than Eye of Cthulhu in my humble opinion. Now, as much as he is somewhat easier than Eye of Cthulhu, his tiny projectiles destroyed me. They're next to fucking invisible to my poor eyesight. I could I couldn't see the damn things. And I ended up dead. That was okay though. Crabbar carried the rest of the fight when we fought it in the second time, and that time I didn't die. He dropped the Micro Root, which is a short-range rogue weapon that shoots extremely fast. Pretty good DPS, but because of its very short range, I didn't use it that much, and the Crystalline is better anyway, so it didn't really matter. Might I add how funky the Crabulon's theme is? Our next adventure would be going into the Corruption. In there, we would fight two different bosses. One of them was the Eater of Worlds. Eater of Worlds was a piece of cake. I didn't even notice anything different in the fight except for the damage output and a higher HP. Big angry worm being annihilated bit by bit. Classic. The other boss we had to fight there was the Hive Mind. You see that I did actually try to use the Micro Root here to some degree of success, but the short range ended. We got so close to killing Hive Mind, but we failed. If only I stayed alive for 10 extra seconds, we would have gotten that kill, but unfortunately I died twice in that fight. Pretty embarrassing. After that failure, we decided it would be best to explore the Sunken Sea for a bit. Now, the Sunken Sea is an area you unlock after defeating the Desert Scourge, and we completely ignored it for the longest time. Crabbar went down there and I was following behind when he died to a giant clam, a mini-boss that unlocks an NPC, and it suddenly teleported to me. With the giant clam outside of the Sunken Sea, me and Crabbar managed to beat it with relative ease, which unlocked the NPC and allowed me to buy the Sand Dollar, another great early game rogue weapon. With the Sand Dollar and an arena built in the Corruption, we decided to go after Hive Mind once again. Round 2 wasn't nearly as hard as round 1, and honestly I realized that the big problem here wasn't my gear or the range of my weapons. The arena is what shined on this fight. The big platform gave me plenty of space to dodge and move around. It was pretty difficult in fighting in a pit, but after the arena was built, Hive Mind was a joke. It wasn't that challenging the second time in my opinion. With the death of Hive Mind, our area lights started spawning underground, so we went ahead and started digging around for it. It needs a sky mill in order to be refined into area light bars, so we also had to go to the skies to look for one. Area light is pretty nice. It lets you craft wings before hard mode, and although it doesn't have anything exciting for rogue, it looks pretty spicy. I mean, just look at me pimping around. Damn, I'm looking fresh! So after getting myself some nice epic armor, we ran towards the dungeon to fight Skeletron. Skeletron was piss easy. Not because he is piss easy, no. If you ever fought Skeletron in expert mode, he can be a real bitch and you know that. And in Calamity, he is even fucking harder. But Skeletron held aggro on Crabbar for like 80% of the fight, and it just sat back and attacked him. Crabbar also fucked him up. I'm not sure which weapon he was using, but Skeletron couldn't keep his hands alive for more than a minute. I then ventured into the dungeon, found the mechanic, and explored a bit more. I didn't really find anything interesting. I did get some bones though, and putting it together with some stars, feathers, and iron franciscus, I made myself an enchanted axe. Pretty good weapon, better than the Crystalline in my opinion. However, it doesn't have any upgrades opposed to the Crystalline that has like, what, 5? Something like that. So we'll eventually fall into obscurity, and in the future, the Crystalline will rise once again from its ashes, like a phoenix. We then decided to pay a little visit to the Abyss. You know, I always thought that the oceans were very underused in vanilla Terraria. It's pretty refreshing to see a mod use it to such an extent. I mean, the ambience of this biome is great, the soundtrack is great, the enemies are great. Basically, this is my favorite biome in the entire mod. Now, down with the Abyss, the pressure starts to get higher, meaning that despite having gills potions and accessories that make you immune to drowning, you still start drowning. They do, however, slow down the drowning, so they still work to some degree. Down there, you can find some shadow chests with Abyss-specific loot in them. For rogue, you get the lionfish, which grabs into enemies and poisons them. The more you stack, the more damage they deal. Pretty good weapon, I gotta say. Okay, before we continue the video, I think you might notice that my voice is a little different. Yeah, in the middle of recording, in the middle of making the video, I actually got sick. But it's been so long since I've uploaded anything that I really want to just finish this shit and upload it so you guys can watch it. So you know what? From now on, you're gonna have to deal with my sick voice. So yeah, I'm sorry about that. Right after getting some sick loot, we went ahead and tried fighting Slime God. Let me start by saying this. Slime God's theme is fucking sick. This fight is a lot harder than it seems. There's a lot of things happening on the screen, and you see a lot of this in Calamity. Oftentimes these bosses will try to overwhelm you with enemies or projectiles. There's shit everywhere. And Slime God is one of the worst ones in this regard, or at the very least, before hard mode. It leaves debris everywhere, making it so hard to dodge, even with an arena. You can see me here trying to use the lionfish and missing pretty much every shot because I'm terrible, but who cares? We won anyway. After the fight and grabbing some gear, we went into hell and started making a bridge. The thing is that Crabbar, again, forgot to clear the Vein Miner's whitelist, and then he just fucking... We continue working on a bridge, and holy shit, it took us so fucking long. Making this bridge in vanilla is already a nightmare, but in Calamity, the bridge needs to be even longer because the boss is so difficult. Eventually though, the bridge was done, and it was time to finally enter hard mode. I was betting on Statigel's armor extra jump to be able to dodge the barrage of lasers this thing shoots, because holy shit, let me tell you, Calamity turns the lasers up by 100. And then, it died. It was disappointingly easy. I was very surprised to see the wall of flesh go down like this, because when I played this mod, and I did play it very briefly in the past, the wall was so goddamn hard. Maybe they toned it down a notch, or maybe Crab carried. Crab probably carried. And with me and Crabbar in hard mode, that marks the end of this episode. Trust me, there's a hell of a lot more to come, because the bulk of Calamity is all after hard mode. One could say the real game starts in hard mode. There's so many bosses and so many cool items and gear, and I have a lot of footage to put together. So see you next time, and stay tuned, and thank you very, very, very much for watching and for being patient, because I know this video took a billion years to come out. And now that the video is over, I can be real with you. Everything happened at once. This video was supposed to come out a week after the .flow video, but then my parents left, so I had to, they left on a trip. They didn't leave for real. They went on a trip. So I was alone in my house, and I had to take care of the store, and I had to take care of my brother, and I had to take care of the house, and I had to go to college, and there's so much shit to do that I couldn't work on the video. And then right after that, when they came back, and I was out of college because, you know, my semester is over, so I have a little break, I got sick, so I couldn't record. So I had to wait to not get sick, and then after I was better, my internet cable broke, so I had to go buy a new one. So now I finally present to you the start of a new series. Oh my god, thank you for watching, and thank you for being patient. I love you. See you next time. Woo! Peace.